Good day, gems and jewels. I am Corinthia Peoples, and my intention today of engaging you is to spark reasoning and rationale to the power of who we really are and who we were really meant to be. Welcome to the room, good people. Who's in here? Come on up in here and join me. Come on up in here and join me. Come on up in here and join me. I have Zeke. Thank you, Zeke, for working in the background. He's my eyes and ears. Whew, I'm taking a breath because this is a work. This life that we are living is a work. It's a work in progress. And we're doing good. We're doing good. Zeke, does anyone in the room? I can't see. Come on up in here and join me. Let me shout you out. Come on up in here. You know, they say you have to move and be present to 10,000, 1,000, 100, 10, or 1. So I am showing up and I am being present. Um, Welcome. Come on up in here. Come on up in here and join me. Come on up in here. Come into the room with your beautiful, positive, beautiful selves. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me okay? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay. I am preparing for you, for me, and showing up. I'm showing up regardless, no matter. Zeke, is anybody in the room? I can't see. Is anybody in the chat? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, I can't. Okay, I can see and hear you. Thank you. Wonderful. All right, well, I'm going to get started, but if you are nearby, welcome to the room. I want to shout you out. Zeke is going to be my eyes and ears, okay? I'm recording on the phone. As you can see, I'm in the park. Life happened, and I couldn't have the controlled environment that I would have liked to have. But still, it's called perseverance, right? We persevere. So I want to talk a little bit. Oh, Kim. Hi, Kim. Greetings. Yes. Thank you, sister, for showing up to the room. So I want to talk about power and my pivot and what is power and my pivot. So power in my pivot is a decision and an unfoldment of how along our journeys we've had to pivot. We've had to pivot either voluntarily or circumstantially or by sheer survival. Voluntarily is us saying, I'm unable to stay in the condition that I'm currently in, and I am willingly choosing to shift, and make a change um, with this thing called life, right? Because we're always changing, we're always pivoting, whether we are called to do so, whether that voice that we hear will not let us rest and cause us sleepless nights. So voluntarily, we pivot. Circumstantially, we pivot um, because we may need to change our circumstances because we're unhappy or we're not fully fulfilled. We're not fully being who we were supposed to be and chose to be and express in this life that we're living. Because, in my opinion, we all came in with a contract. There's an African proverb that says, we did choose to come. We did choose to come through our parents and into our families that we are born into. And we were told what we would have to endure and overcome. And either we chose yes or we chose no. If you're amongst the living, you chose yes. So circumstantially, we choose to pivot to express and remember those circumstances that we came to do. And we have to pivot even if it's out of our comfort zones of things that we've already cultivated in ourselves. And now it's time to make a new. We pivot through survival, right? And again, what is power in my pivot? This is what power in my pivot is and why I'm choosing to bring this. Whether we are surviving by pivoting through paying a bill and we're having to make more money or get creative and choose to make more money or more resources for ourselves, or just through simply saving our souls because our soul is stagnated and we're wanting more from it. I also want to talk to you about why I decided to do power in my pivot. For years, I've felt that more of me needed to be expressed, more of me wanted to come forward, more of me wanted to have a voice, more of me was called. I had ideas that I wanted to bring forward and choose a platform. But what stopped me was my doubt. And who was I? Who was I to create a platform for myself and have an opinion about life and have a philosophy of my own journey and my own overcoming and my own survival and my own circumstances? Um, and my question of not being enough. Was I enough to bring forth my ideas? Was I enough to bring forth what I felt that was calling to come forward inside of me? So these were some of the reasons why I decided to do Power in My Pivot, because I wanted to overcome fear. And sometimes fear is overcome within ourselves through symbolic gestures. I took a couple of years ago, I decided to zip line. And it wasn't the thrill of ziplining. It was symbolic of me overcoming my fear of being up on a height and being up on a string in a harness. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this. And yes, I walked up the stairs to the top to get on the zip line. And yes, I wanted to turn around. And yes, I told the guy, I'm going to not do this. So, and yes, I punked out. I wanted to punk out, but I didn't. The guy said, nope, nope, you're up here, right? You up here. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to close our eyes. And when I closed my eyes, he pushed me. And there I was on the zip, rearing across this line. That's life. That's also why I decided to do Power in My Pivot, was to overcome my fears. And also I asked myself the question, if I don't overcome my fear of this, I have two choices. My first choice is to stay where I am. My second choice is to move forward, even if I shiver and I shake. And I've been shivering and shaking. I shivered and shook right before I did this, right before I came on to speak with you. I shivered and shook the first time, which was last Saturday. I shiver and shake every time I do my lives, right? They say fake it till you make it. Well, you got to get to it. I, in my opinion, have to get to each and every time I go outside of self-imposed boxes that were imposed by family and friends, and things that I was told that I could do, not looking outside of what I wanted to do or what I chose to do. So I decided to do it now because I figured if I didn't do it now, that I was going to let fear continue to set the stage for me. I decided to do it now to be courageous, to be in my power, in my pivot, even through fear, right? I think we all think, in my opinion, that, oh, they're doing that. They got that. They're natural at it. They're great. But who knows what goes on behind the scenes, before we go on live, before the actors and actresses go on stage, before the playwrights write a book, or before the authors publish their books. We have no idea what they have to gear up to do. Um, so this is why I decided to do Power in My Pivot. I also thought to myself, what gives me credibility? What gives me credibility to talk in front of a camera, to have a platform, to get up and speak my truth, to talk about my journey? And what gives me credibility is my personal life journey. What gives me credibility is my experiences and what I've learned and what I've overcome. What gives me credibility is my innate gift of educating, of being an educator, whether that's to first, second, and third graders, which is what I do now, teaching dance, West African dance, explaining a concept. I'm a teacher all the time, every day. I'm always teaching, and it comes so naturally for me. Um, Not that I'm a know-it-all or I have it all figured out, because I don't. And I guess I want to take you on my journey of not having it all figured out, but pivoting, regardless of not having it all figured out, of pivoting, regardless of not knowing all the answers, but pivoting, regardless, right? Also my travels, I've traveled abroad. I've had life handed and dealt to me firsthand. I've had to dive into my own spirit, my own soul to make it through some interesting situations and circumstances, good and bad. But what gives me credibility is my willingness to metamorph, to transform, at even this age in my life. I remember transforming at 21 when I had to pivot, when I got kicked out the house, when I've had to pivot when the job ended, or I just no longer wanted to do what I was doing. I've had to pivot. I've had to pivot when I found myself sleeping on my friend's sofa and not having my own place. I've had to figure out how to pivot. So this is what makes me creditable, in my opinion. This is my credibility, right? So I also, every Saturday, I want to discuss who and what inspired me this week. And this week, my personal and private conversation with myself inspired me. Excuse the wind, but again, I'm pivoting, right? So this is what it is. Sometimes it's not pretty and perfect. Sometimes you just got to show up where you are. And again, life circumstances brought me to where I am right now in this moment. So I had a personal conversation with myself that inspired me that inspired me this week. And I asked myself again, do I stay where I am or do I continue? Do I move forward? Even in my shake and even in my tremble, what's more painful? What's more painful for me, in my opinion, to stay or to move in another direction that I would have to cultivate inside of me? Right now, I'm shaking still. Right now, I'm like, oh my God. But for me, in my opinion, what was more painful was to stay where I was. For me, that was more painful, was to continue to stay where I was and to shake and tremble and move forward was lesser of my pain. Also, what inspired me was one or two people who supported me. It wasn't a lot of people, it was one or two that said, you got this, you can do this. I want to give shots out to Zeke, my tech support, who says, I got you, who always says, I'm here, I'm with you. Thank you, Zeke. Thank you, my one or two people who along my path, and you know who you are, who has said, honey, you got this. You were born to be, to express more, to be more, to live more fully. That was who and what inspired me today, this week. Each week, I want to give you a health tip. And full disclosure, right? This is my health tips, my sharing for me, what's helped me along my journey. I'm not disclosing to you what you should do, but this is my own health tip. I'm not a medical doctor or a nutritionist. I'm my own mad scientist. I'm my own mad scientist that's doing what what's helping me. So my health tip is every day drink a healthy drink before you even have food or after you have food, whenever, however, just get in a healthy drink. For me, on my journey, this helps me. Whether it's a green juice, whether it's a beet juice, whether it's some carrot juice for me, it's what I do. whether it's a smoothie, a wheatgrass shot, a ginger shot. I get something in my body every day that is healthy and life giving for me. That is my health tip for you that I am sharing for me, that I do. So that is my health tip, and I will be bringing you a health tip every single week. Okay. In closing, hey, we are amazing, amazing, amazing beings, and never should we dim our light just to make somebody else feel okay. The words of Nelson Mandela. The next live will be a dynamic interview with a dynamic woman who will share with me, and I will bring it live to you on how she has pivoted on her journey. Interestingly, she is a woman who has worked directly um, on Bernie Sanders' campaign, but she's also a mother. She's also a woman. She's also a Black woman who's had challenges. She's also an activist, and she's standing for her community and what she feels is her journey and what she feels brings power to her pivot. So please continue to join me here live every single Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here live on Facebook, Corinthia Peoples, and on YouTube at Corinthia Peoples. And just because there is power in my pivot, baby, there is power in your pivot. I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening and thank you for joining. Bye.